In this video, I'm going to go through the Activity Reports app, which is where you can interact with data if you come in from a club perspective. Just a warning that this data isn't broken down by school level, and if you're looking for that, you'll find it in a different place. Once you've signed up for a shinyapps.io account, then you should probably close the screen that you get taken to. There are other videos that are on the YouTube channel that will show you what to do if you're having any problems and have some hints and tips, so refer back to them. This video is assuming that you've got a login, you've been authorized, and that you've already managed to get through the login page. You've been able to follow a link and you're now on the Activity Reports app. I'm highlighting the URL at the top of the page there. Every app or dashboard, when you come to it, you'll land on an overview page. This overview page will have a little bit of information about what the app is about and what's in there. So have a read of that if you're not sure where you should be. There's also the email address for businessintelligence@sportscotland.org.uk. That's where you can get in touch with our team if you've got any questions, queries, complaints about the app itself. There is a frequently asked questions. This is getting built up over time, so do refer back to it. Have a look, see if you need to understand the differences between the data. That's where you might find that here. And also there's a link section, so you'll find links to the other apps in here, as well as a link to our YouTube channel, which has more videos on, and MySport as well, which is where the data is being submitted. On the overview page, you just have a plot that has the national picture for active schools. This won't change based on any filters. It just is to give you a bit of a picture of active schools itself. What we're trying to do with this app is to build in the pupil census data wherever possible. So by just clicking on pupil census on the left-hand side, which is the sideboard, it takes me to the pupil census data. This is an overview of the school roll across the local authorities in Scotland. I'm currently viewing 2019. If I click this button here, I can go to 2018, 2017, etc. I can also filter the school as well, so I could look just at the school roll in primary, just at the school roll in secondary, or I could have a look to see what the special schools are. And just to note that the Scottish Government defined special schools don't necessarily correlate completely with the additional support needs schools that we have on ASMA. For example, some of the schools that we record for active schools as being separate would actually be considered ASN wings by the Scottish Government. Under school summary, this is being built up as a picture of schools. So you can go in and you can see the list of schools that are in a local authority. You can change that local authority. You can bring up a different list of schools. You can have the address of the school, some key information. It'll also have the proportion of BAME students and the proportion of students that live in quintile 1. We'll build into this as well the free school meals information, how many students in that school will receive free school meals. This was being released by the Scottish Government from 2019, and we'll try and put a summary of active schools data in here as well. To get to the actual active schools data, I'll start by looking at it from a local authority point of view. So I'm going back to the sidebar, I'm going to local authority overview, and I can see here the number of distinct participants. Distinct participants are the distinct individuals who take part. We get this at a school level, which is built in here at a local authority level. We don't collect distinct participant information at an activity level. So you'll see that there is just a bit of text here that says this plot cannot be filtered by activity. What you can do is you can change it to look at sex. So you can see female or male participants. If I go to block attendees, this is the average number of attendees that attend a block of activity. So in active schools, we collect a block. I could collect a block of rugby. Within that block, there could be 6 sessions. For example, 1 hour a week for 6 weeks, we would run a rugby session in 1 block. The average makeup of the pupils that attend that session is the information given to us by active schools coordinators. And that's what we call as block attendees. Now again, it's showing you at a local authority level, and you can see the female or male. What you can also do with this is you can go to activity and you could bring up, for example, badminton, and it would show you the number of block attendees for badminton. If I click on badminton, then it's going back to a national overview, and I can do that for any of the activities that we collect through Active Schools. Note that the y-axis changes based on the sport. So, for example, climbing, we have a maximum of 250, whereas if I went to cycling and make sure I've removed climbing, then we have a maximum of around 450. I'm just removing cycling, so again, I'm back at that national picture, and I'm just clicking on that page to make the filter box go away. The other way that we represent the data is through visits. Visits is a very popular way of expressing data for facilities, for example. Visits are the block attendees value times by the number of activity sessions in a block. So these numbers will be much higher, and they get much higher. We recommend that if you're looking at planning that you would use those block attendees, but if you have historically used the visits data, then it's there for you as well. And wherever there's block attendees, there will be visits. Again, this will filter by activity. So if I went to archery, for example, or dodgeball. Note that not all activities occur in every local authority, and so you might find that the number of local authorities on the x-axis changes. I can also go to when, so I can see when an activity has been happening. So this is nationally. We can see that the majority of activity happens after school. Remember that all Active Schools activity is extracurricular, which means that it has to be before school, lunchtime, after school, evening or weekend. You can also see the number of school links per local authority. At the side, you have the number of distinct club links and the local authority on the x-axis. If you want to know whether or not these are more than promotional links, then you can click this box and it'll show you. So that more than promotional means that did they do more than promote the club? So was it a taster session, a program, curricular, extracurricular activity? If I wanted to save this plot at all, I can go to the camera. If I press that camera button, then it will save it as a PNG file. And I can use that however I want. I can also zoom in. If I want to take a closer look at something, I can hover over to get any of the values. And if I can either zoom out or press the home button to reset the axes. Where there is a plot, there is generally a corresponding table at the bottom. So for example, if you wanted to take that block attendees value, just being aware that there are 2 pages of data here, or you can also go to show entries and go to 32, and that'll show me all 32 local authorities. I can also change this next to the all button, and that will put it in ascending or descending order, and that is the same for all of for any column title. You can do that. If I want more of a breakdown, I can go to participants. So on participants, I can see the year groups on the x-axis here, and again I've got all activities, all local authorities selected. If I go to activity and for example select football, and then go to local authority and select East Lothian, so that'll bring up just the pupils that are taking part in football in East Lothian in 2018 across 3 terms. I can change the year. I can remove a term. So I'm just looking at data now for term 1. I can add in term 2 or term 3. I can look at block attendees over time. I can change that from all to female primary, male primary, female secondary, male secondary. And that's the same for visits as well. It used to have those same selection. And again, at the table at the bottom, you have the numbers if you need them. If you were to press CSV, then that'll download the data as a CSV file, which is basically an Excel spreadsheet. Or you could also press copy. And then paste into Excel. On the visits page in the table, you have the number of activity sessions as well that occurred. On the deliverers page, this is where you find out the people that have been delivering the sessions. These are not distinct individuals. If someone has 3 blocks of badminton, and for each block they tag that it was delivered by a voluntary parent, it could be the same parent that delivers each block of badminton, but we would count that as 3 individuals. What we refer to this as is deliverer sessions. Again, it's not distinct, but it gives you an idea of the people that are delivering your sport. So again, I'm looking at football in East Lothian. I can change this. So if I go to football and unselect it, if I look up gymnastics, and if I look at a different local authority, for example, North Ayrshire, make sure East Lothian is unselected. Then I'm now looking at gymnastics for East Lothian Council in 2018 for terms 1, 2 and 3, so that's a full year. Again, I can hover over and it'll give me the value of any of these, the values as well being in the tables at the bottom of the page. I can look to see what that volunteer makeup is, teachers, students, pupils, coaches, etc. What the paid deliverers, what they are, so here community coaches. And from 2019, we asked for a new field of data, which was whether or not the person delivering the block of gymnastics, for example, had a gymnastics qualification. So that SGB deliverers is whether or not the deliverer's qualification is directly relevant to the block they're delivering. What I'm going to do at the minute is I'm just going to remove the gymnastics, and I'm going to remove North Ayrshire Council. So I'm looking at data for all years. I'm going to go back to 2018 because we only have one term of data for 2019 due to COVID. I'm just going to look at this table. So this table has all the years for the volunteers, the paid deliverers, and it'll have SGB coaches in there from 2019. In terms of clubs, here's where you can get your school to club links. So again, I've got that national overview for all activities, and I've got the SIMD of the school versus the number of more than promotional links. So this is a school to club link that isn't just promotional, but it has another category as well. And again, that's a taster session, a holiday program, regular curricular or regular extracurricular activity. Again, I'm looking at 2018 and I'm looking at those 3 terms. I could change this and just look, for example, at one local authority. Here I'm on Falkirk. I could look at just one activity, basketball, or I could look at an activity and a local authority at the same time. And this is me just removing those filters so that I've just got that national picture. In the table at the bottom, you'll see a list of all of the clubs for all the local authorities, whether or not that's more than promotional and whether it's curricular or extracurricular. This again will filter for the activity. So for example, if I went to bocce, this would just bring up all of the bocce clubs, and I can press regular curricular, extracurricular, more than promotional to do ascending, descending. I'm just going to remove bocce. In terms of club delivery, these are all the clubs that delivered an actual block, or that we know delivered an actual block from 2019 onwards. So again, another field of data that was added to our blocks was ACT Schools coordinators were able to tag the club that delivered the block, which is why we've got these numbers against them. So rather than just saying that, for example, Panthers Basketball Club did regular extracurricular activity, they can now say this is the activity block that they did. But on average, there were 52 pupils who attended, 15 of them were female, 37 of them were male. If you wanted to know more about that, you'd find it under club delivery. So for example, if I go to basketball, then I'm showing data for basketball Paisley. I can click on this and it can bring up any of the clubs. So for example, if I look at Fife Steel Junior or Glasgow City, I can see what year groups attended that activity and who delivered that activity. So here it was 6 paid community coaches. This data we only have from 2019, so the year and the term isn't changing anything because we only have one term of data from 2019, again due to COVID. But we hope to be able to build on this. And again, at the bottom, you've got those tables such as primary and secondary. All of the plots have those same. If you hover over the right, you'll be able to get the camera, the zoom in, the zoom out, the home. And all of the tables have the copy, CSV, or you can print directly. That was the Activity Reports app. This is just a quick overview. Hopefully you're able to use it, get playing around by yourself.